Roll a mustache. Boom, done. So just take your time. I mean, it's exciting that you're starting. But that way, measure once, cut twice. Wait, no. Measure twice, cut once. Oh, is that our Amazon? I think we got our Amazon Prime right now. Just in time, dog. Look at that. What's up, guys? We're back. We hit a little snag, more so just user error, where the stencil that we cut is good, but when we laid it out on the plywood the first time, we didn't really look at it after we put it down before making our marks. Where the stencil was the second portion where the front of the van ends, I guess where the step ends was just after the second piece of plywood. So after we made all our marks, we realized it and we're like, oh, that should be fine. And we kind of just pulled the stencil and made a makeshift mark. We said, you know what, let's go ahead and do this right. And so we flipped all the pieces of plywood over and we're gonna reassess and reapply the stencil and make our marks there. And also we pretty much just put the stencil the first time in the dead center of all the plywoods, so we would have excess scrap on both sides. The other change that we decided to go with was initially we were looking at foam board insulation strips for the van floor, where it's the foam board insulation strips as we talked about in the valleys. We're not gonna be that to death. And then it was gonna be the plywood over it. But the thing that was kind of concerning me, the more I thought of it, was I felt it was going to be a lot of holes in the van. Like a lot. I would have been fine with a couple, you know, a few, but then the more I looked at it and laid it on paper, it just seemed like a lot. So we said, you know what, we have scrap wood and we have plywood, and we're gonna be cutting to strips, and so we're just gonna do liquid nail. We're gonna end up using an extra plywood that we got, and we're just gonna cut those into the strip. That's where we are, is we end up switching from foam board. The reason for that was just I felt it'd be better suited for our build. It was gonna be better peace of mind for the build, where I was able to screw the pieces of plywood into the wood frame pieces that were gonna be on the van floor, and I thought that was gonna be more of a secure hold. That way I don't have to worry about it, and it doesn't mess up the van with too many holes. I was not comfortable with that the more I thought of it. Here is the stencil. This is more or less how we had it, just straight down the middle. But how we had it earlier was how you see it even with that seam for the second plywood. The first go around, where it was just off, and then so we ended up pulling it down a little bit after we'd already drawn a line like this and just drew it. Then we added some width, but when I looked at it more, I decided just to do it right. And then we're also gonna be pulling this, the edge, all the way to this edge, so that way all the excess material will be just on that side. So also one thing that we're gonna be doing, just that way we stay track, is we're gonna mark the boards 1, 2, 3. That way we know front, middle, rear. Just so it can help us keep track, that we're like, oh, which one was it? Although you can probably tell by the cutout. Still, that's what we're doing. We're also doing an unboxing in the middle of the van build video. Now our build list has gone up, mostly just because we have a circular saw. I'm really thankful that a lot of y'all reached out and offered y'all's tools to me. And now as I was thinking about it, I figured we should probably just invest in the general basics of power tools, because we still have a lot to do with the van, where we still have the ceiling down line, of course, where I didn't want to have to borrow and then later on a couple months be like, hey, can I borrow that power tool again? And so I figured let's just bite the bullet, invest in it, and that way we have it. We ended up going with a DeWalt corded saw, just that way, and then we have, let's check this out. So kill mat. This thing is heavy, dude. Here's the kill mat. It says kill mat. A lot of brands are very similar. The Dynamat, I was like, this is thick, but it's two of them. The Dynamat was the one initially I was gonna go with, and then this one was on Amazon, similar pricing. A lot of this stuff is going to be in the links in the drop-down menus below. And this is what arrived while we were outlining the floor. We have our Black & Decker jigsaw, again corded. This is what we're gonna be using to get the wheel well portions and the little part where the posts or the inside beams, I don't even know what those are called. And then the other essential item is going to be the roller for your sound deadener, your kill mat. This is about 10 bucks. It's a cool little thing, just rolls it on. Roll a mustache, boom, done. had a couple that came with the van already. What we're gonna do is just put 3 on each side, so 1, 2, pretty much the offset on each side, and that's it. We were thinking about putting some up here, but we're not going to. Essentially, it's a waste of money. Sure, it'll help deaden some of the sound, but we're hoping to get a fan in a couple months, and it's gonna be somewhere in this area, so there's no real point in sound deadening it if we're only gonna cut it out. And in an effort to not have the floor video be 400 minutes long, we decided to go ahead and add this as a break in between the subfloor cutout. And so we have the sound deadener installed. It's good to go. I haven't really noticed much of a difference. On the wheel wells I did, but as for the actual side panels, not so much. We did not include it here in this window that you cannot see. It's right behind the driver's side because we are going to be doing that window cutout. And again, like the roof here in the back, we were initially thinking of doing it, but we're going to be doing that cutout for the fan. Same thing with that, and same thing with the passenger slider door. It's going to deaden the road noise a little bit. It's going to be a little bit easier. And once we put the floor in, that's the main thing where a lot of the noise comes from. And then whenever I have the motorcycle ramp. What's up? Just want to provide an update that initially we didn't think that there was much difference having the kill mat on the wheel wells and the side panels. It didn't sound like it when we did the knock test. But now that we're driving, I most definitely noticed it. It sounds like whenever I have cargo in the back and it absorbs all the noise, that's what it sounds like right now, where I'm driving and I still hear some road noise, but it's nowhere near as loud. That's so dope. Oh yeah, this is definitely gonna make driving a lot more convenient, a lot more pleasurable for longer trips, because when I first got the van, the first thing I noticed was how loud it was. It felt like wind. I don't know if it was just windy also, but it felt like wind was just howling from the front area. So that's what also we're gonna be doing, is we're gonna be insulating this portion with that kill mat, the sound deadener, so that way you can take away some of that noise. I noticed it now that we're driving. When you're driving, sure, I think with the knock test, you can notice a little sound deadened with the wheel wells, but as for the side panels, I wasn't 100% like, it sounds like it did, but it's like whenever you got new shoes as a kid, and you swore it made you run faster, jump higher. It's like I was wanting it to, but we were like, you know what, let's just wait till we drive. Sure enough, we were driving around today, and wow, okay. So that's the update. I am digging this because when we first got the van, this was one of the things that we were looking forward to, but we never ended up pulling the trigger. This is another one of those things where it's starting to kind of come together. We were gonna do the whole thing initially when we first got the van, and we were first looking at it, but a lot of people said it wasn't necessary. And then we are gonna be putting foam down the line into the walls. So he said, you know what, we don't need to go overcoat. Now we have a bunch of extra, that way if we want to sound deaden something in the future, we will be doing the cockpit above captain's seats. That way we're gonna go and remove that upper area, put it against the ceiling, so that's all the extra material it can actually be used for. So be sure and be on the lookout for the next video, which is the actual cutting and install of the subfloor. Like we talked about earlier, we did end up going with a different setup for the strips beneath the plywood. Initially we were gonna go with foam board strips, but we decided to go with plywood strips instead. So if you all enjoyed this video, be sure and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and while you're there, bump on over and hit that bell to be notified of any future videos when they drop, as soon as they drop.